Today, consumers report concerns about everything from employment to inflation. Consumer confidence dropped sharply in early August to its lowest level in a decade. The Walt Disney Company releases its third quarter earnings, and it had a great performance, beating expectations across the board. And Big Pharma is set to get a boost to profits from vaccine boosters. That and much more, coming up in NTD Business. Good evening. Great to have you with us. I'm Paul Graney. The University of Michigan describes it as a stunning loss of confidence. Its latest consumer sentiment index shows a 13% nosedive to a level lower than April 2020, right after a pandemic was declared. Americans are reportedly worried about everything from personal finances to inflation to employment. As recently as the end of July, we saw a reading of 81.2. But that's already deteriorated to 70.2, a low not seen since 2011. There are only two other larger declines in the past 50 years. One was at the start of the stay-at-home orders last spring. The other was during the 2008 recession. This could become a problem for the White House and the Federal Reserve. The drop in sentiment leads to an actual pullback in consumer spending, which powers 2/3 of all U.S. economic activity. But so far, the U.S. economy is on track for its fastest rate of growth in 4 decades, though the recovery is showing some signs of cooling off. And single-family home prices have never risen faster year over year than they did in the second quarter. Buyers paid on average 23% more than 2020. That's if they could get their hands on one. The National Association of Realtors says there are still relatively few homes on the market. This, along with historically low mortgage rates pushing demand, has helped push 94% of the markets measured to double-digit growth over the year. The NAR says this has been particularly hard on first-time home buyers. Many have been priced out. But according to today's report, things may be cooling off. The NAR citing signs more houses coming on the market and a waning of demand. But it warns that things that discourage the building of new homes, like extending the eviction moratorium, will only worsen the current shortage. Federal Reserve recently shared that sentiment in a recent release. But today, a federal judge decided not to block the Biden administration's latest eviction ban, at least for now. She did rule that the freeze is illegal, but says her hands are tied by an earlier decision from a higher court which allowed the eviction ban. She says the group bringing the lawsuit must go to the U.S. Court of Appeals to challenge it. The CDC extended its eviction moratorium to early October, but with a narrower scope, though it still covers about 90% of the country. Recently, about 3.5 million people in the United States said they faced eviction in the next 2 months, according to the Census Bureau. Responded to the judge's decision, the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said they believe the new moratorium is a proper use of its lawful authority. Though President Biden earlier conceded most constitutional scholars would say it's not likely to pass constitutional muster. But the Supreme Court is allowing some landlords to evict tenants in New York State. It sided with 5 landlords in New York who argued that the eviction law is unfair. It's because it lets tenants claim hardship without any proof. There would be no way for landlords to challenge their claims. But a court battle over the dispute continues. And the used car boom seems to be cooling off. According to several reports, the dramatic rise in prices we've seen could be coming to an end. This week, the Labor Department reported that used vehicle prices went up a mere 0.2% last month. That's a dramatic slowdown if you consider that the previous 3 months in a row saw price hikes of 7% or more per month. Lance Roberts at RIA Advisors says the prices will begin falling soon. And the Walt Disney Company had a good quarter. More people signed up for Disney Plus than Wall Street had predicted, and its theme parks are profitable again. NTD's Grace Coulter reports.
Disney had an incredible fiscal third quarter, beating estimates in revenue, profit, and subscriber growth. It had revenues of $17 billion, higher than the estimates of $16.7 billion. Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products revenues for the quarter increased $4.3 billion compared to the $1.1 billion in the prior year quarter, returning to profit. Disney says growth at our parks and experiences business was due to the reopening of our parks and resorts, adding that they were generally operating at reduced capacities.
We're encouraged by some of the positive trends we're seeing and new developments we have been hard at work on, including the brand new Avengers campus at Disney California Adventure, where guests can team up with their favorite superheroes in thrilling ways.
Also, the company had a total of 116 million subscribers on its Disney Plus streaming service, slowly getting closer to Netflix's 209 million. Disney Plus is one of its top priorities.
Pixar's Luca and Marvel's Loki and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier have contributed to strong engagement and new subscriber growth in core Disney Plus markets. And we have continued to launch Disney Plus in new markets around the world.
New movies such as Free Guy and the latest Marvel movie, Shang-Chi,
just a criminal who murders people,
will be released in theaters exclusively for 45 days before being available on Disney Plus. Disney previously released films on both platforms simultaneously.
There's just a lot of testing going on. They're trying to grapple with how to adjust to both a pandemic world and the changing times of these different models.
Regarding Disney's performance, CEO Bob Chapek says, "It all begins with great storytelling, which is the foundation of our special connection to audiences." He says Disney's foremost priority will continue to be telling original and enduring stories. Grace Coulter, NTD News.
And Adidas is offloading its Reebok brand to another clothing business, Authentic Brands. Adidas paid $3.8 billion for Reebok back in 2006. That was in an attempt to take on Nike directly. Back then, Reebok had deals with both the NBA and the NFL, but fortunes have changed. Now Adidas is selling Reebok for $2.5 billion, a significant loss. Authentic Brands, which owns Forever 21 and Brooks Brothers, is hoping for a major turnaround itself. But instead of competing more directly with Nike, the new owners want Reebok to offer something very different to consumers. But we'll have to wait and see what that is. The deal won't close till the first quarter of 2022. And after years of court battles, Britney Spears' father, Jamie Spears, has agreed to step down as her conservator. Seems like a big win for Britney, but one attorney says her dad is actually trying to extend the conservatorship. NTD's Evelyn Lee has the details.
Britney Spears' father has decided to step down as her conservator. That's according to court documents. The pop singer has been struggling to regain control of her life in years-long court battles. Harry Nelson, managing partner of Nelson Hardiman, says that Jamie Spears' attorney likely told him that he would ultimately lose this battle. Nelson thinks he's trying to position for two things.
So he's trying to, extend the financial benefit of the conservatorship. And also, I think he's worried about his reputation.
The court filing shows that Britney's father still wants to resolve some pending matters before he passes the conservatorship to another person. The memorandum also reads that there are no urgent circumstances justifying Mr. Spears' immediate suspension.
The way that he's presented his resignation, saying that he's going to resign, but only under the following conditions, he's actually extending out the potential length of the conservatorship longer than, let's say, if a judge was to make a ruling.
According to Christopher Melcher, a family attorney that isn't involved in the case, Jamie Spears is asking for $1.2 million in attorney fees and other compensation like $500,000 for media matters. The next court date is scheduled for the end of September.
We fully expect that when Britney's lawyers respond, they're going to be unsatisfied with what he's asking for and absolutely opposed to the kinds of financial reimbursement.
He also says this isn't the end of it yet. Addressing her father's role is only the first step. Next, Britney's lawyers will likely address the big question of removing her conservatorship altogether. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
Are you interested in cheap flights between New York and the UK? JetBlue is making history as other airlines rethink their plans. Yesterday, the budget U.S. carrier completed its first ever transatlantic flight between the U.S. and London. It's trying to get a piece of the action on one of the world's most busiest and most lucrative international routes, but it's been traditionally hard for budget carriers to crack. JetBlue is counting on new longer-range Airbus jets to underpin profits. Fares for JetBlue's private suite start at just under $2,000. Round-trip economy tickets will start at around $600 each. JetBlue's CEO said the launch has already caused a price war, with other carriers' fares falling since its flights went on sale. The UK is open to fully vaccinated US travelers, but the US is still not allowing most travelers from Britain to enter the country. And Airbnb is staging a pretty impressive recovery. Its second quarter revenue nearly quadrupled compared to a year ago, and it performed even 10% better than before the pandemic. It also narrowed its loss to $68 million and expects to post a record revenue in the third quarter. The CEO says it's spending heavily to recruit new hosts and is tweaking its product to appeal to those who combine both work and pleasure. It says its fastest growing category is stays longer than 28 days. But although business is picking up, Airbnb warns that new variants of the CCP virus will make future bookings and cancellations harder to predict. And an investment firm is selling new Manhattan condominiums for just a couple $100,000. Sounds like a bargain, right, Manhattan? Catch is, it's a condo for your car. NTD's Phil Zoe has the story.
New York City is one of the toughest places to find a parking spot. Now you can buy one starting around $200,000.
Having a driveway in New York City where you can come and go as you please and park your car, that has storage, that has a lounge, that has charging stations.
Garage operator Center Park converted its Upper East Side lot into 23 parking space condos. The company says there's a big demand for parking right now. New car registrations were up 27% in Manhattan last year. This year, it's on course to go even higher.
There's more cars on the road and there's less places to park.
The Kirsten Jordan team at Douglas Elliman is marketing the space. Some of the bigger spots can go up to $350,000.
Parking is getting harder and harder in the city. More people have cars, prices are going up, and garages are being torn down and turned into luxury condominiums all the time.
Center Park says restaurants' outdoor dining sheds have also taken away thousands of street parking spots. At the same location, right above the condo, is the Mayfair Co-op, a doorman building selling apartments starting at $500,000. And if you're looking for a new home, there's also a 3-bed, 3-bath asking over $2 million to go along with your new parking space. Phil Zoe, NTD News, New York.
And the Food and Drug Administration is greenlighting CCP virus vaccine boosters for Pfizer and Moderna. But it's only for certain people with compromised immune systems. It focuses on people who've had solid organ transplants or those with similarly compromised systems. When it comes to the general population, though, scientists are still divided over whether boosters are actually beneficial. Both Pfizer and Moderna have been advocating for booster shots. That's on reports of people who are fully vaccinated getting the virus. A panel at the CDC today voted to recommend the additional doses, an important step before the policy is implemented. Israel and Germany have already decided to offer a third shot as the Delta variant spreads. And Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna stand to make billions of dollars from the boosters. They've already racked up $60 billion in sales this year and next year for their virus vaccines. Analysts forecast Pfizer and German partner BioNTech could earn $6.6 billion in 2023. Moderna could earn $7.6 billion. That will be profits mainly generated from the booster shots. That means the market for boosters could surpass annual sales for flu vaccines and for many years to come. The vaccine makers say fully inoculated people will need an extra dose to maintain protection and fend off new variants. That's just 6 months after being fully vaccinated. And on Wall Street today, stocks were pretty much unchanged. They did notch a second straight week of gains, though. The Dow rose 16 points, S&P 500 gained 7 points, the Nasdaq also added 7 points today. And earlier this week, we reported that crypto platform Poly Network lost over $600 million in a hack. Now, it's got most of the money back, and it's even thanking the hacker or hackers who did it. The network today confirmed it offered to pay a $500,000 bug bounty. That's a payment for helping find vulnerabilities in the software. The network dubbed the perpetrator Mr. White Hat. That's sector jargon for an ethical hacker. Said it hoped he or she would contribute more to the sector's development, but didn't say whether the payment had been accepted yet. In messages posted online, the apparent hackers said they did the whole thing for fun and always meant to return the money. But some blockchain experts suspect they may just have found it too difficult to launder the stolen crypto on such a large scale. And from coast to coast, much of the country is battling high temperatures, battling them here in New York. Now people are trying to find relief from the heat in water parks, beaches, or even air conditioning. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the story.
Intense temperatures scorched the Pacific Northwest on Thursday, under the latest sweltering heat wave to punish the region this summer. Near-record temperatures strained power grids and drove residents to seek shade. Even this food truck in Portland had to close down for a few days.
If it's going to be 100 degrees 20 days a year, does that change the entire viability of the food cart model? I hope not. It's tough. They might have to find new and innovative ways to air condition the carts. It's difficult, and AC uses a lot of power, and these guys are also running fryers.
The National Weather Service also issued an excessive heat warning for parts of New York for Thursday. Utility company Con Edison asked its New York City customers to conserve energy. Similar temperatures baked New Jersey. Residents there hit the beaches of the Jersey Shore to cool down. And in Pittsburgh, residents got their jogs and bike rides done early in the morning to beat the heat. An earlier heat wave in July broke records and scorched much of the U.S. West, and fueled a string of wildfires that have burned throughout much of the summer. Other small businesses in Portland closed up shop as well.
We want to make sure we take good care of our employees and our community and just try to keep everyone as safe as possible during the heat wave. We also have some employees with animals at home that are needing care if they don't have air conditioning.
The country has faced several extreme weather events this year, including a freeze in Texas that knocked out power to millions in February. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
It really is hot. Still to come this evening. Tourists return to Mexico as the pandemic continues to complicate international travel. Restaurants and hotels in Mexico City try to hold on. And a tea from South Africa joined champagne on the European Union's protection list, the first African product to get the special status. That and more after this short break.
Secure, the true solution for your digital privacy and security. Secure is a private and secure messaging and email solution hosted in Switzerland, using military-grade encryption and Swiss privacy laws, giving you true privacy. Secure is 100% private and does not collect or sell any of your personal data. Secure's Helix technology connects you securely to our Swiss servers without the need of a VPN, guaranteeing privacy and security for all your communications. Secure Messenger doesn't require your phone number or any personal data that hackers target. Chat by Invites allows you to chat privately and securely with anyone outside of your secure network without the need for others to download Secure. Secure Send offers you a private and secure way to email anyone outside of Secure. You won't find this level of privacy or security on any other email or instant messaging application. Visit secure.com. Regain and protect your privacy today.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, inventor of MyPillow. Thanks to your support, you've helped make MyPillow become one of the fastest growing companies in America. Over the last 12 years, you've helped MyPillow create thousands of jobs right here in the USA.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
That's why I invented MyPillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck supported and aligned. I'm interrupting this commercial right now. Retailers have canceled MyPillow, and to thank you for your support, I'm going to pass the savings directly on to you. Go to MyPillow.com right now to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. For example, you can get my premium MyPillows regularly $69.98, now just $29.98, the lowest price ever.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit MyPillow.com.
Welcome back. Amazon Studios says the second season of its multi-million-dollar Lord of the Rings TV series will be filmed in the United Kingdom. It's the first time the fictional world will relocate out of New Zealand. New Zealand's rolling mountains, lush meadows, and forests are the famous backdrop for the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit film trilogies. But it's not enough to entice Amazon Studios to keep production there. The first season of the TV series is still in New Zealand, but Amazon will give up both a 5% incentive and a 20% grant to move to the UK. The statement says it aligns with Amazon's strategy to expand its UK activity, but the New Zealand government was disappointed with the decision. And as a new stage of the pandemic strikes Mexico City, the tourism industry is struggling to remain open. It's hoping restaurants, hotels, and landmarks will be allowed to continue. NTD's Andrew Thomas has the story.
From Aztec ruins to world-class restaurants, Mexico City has much to offer. It also boasts a vast cultural offering of theaters, museums, concerts, and shopping. But after the pandemic struck, 2020 registered the lowest numbers for hotel occupancy and crippled a tourism sector that makes up 8.5% of the country's GDP. But now, the city is beginning to bustle with tourists from all over the world once again.
Everything is open. With the pandemic, everything shut down. But at this moment, it is easy to notice that the priority is to be open to people, so more people can come, as it is not shut for tourism.
This summer, the Mexican capital registered levels of 40% hotel occupancy, about 1.5 million tourists. And the international airport is now operating at pre-pandemic levels. Authorities are implementing strict health protocols. Masks must be worn. You can see sanitizer throughout hotels and restaurants, and body temperature checks are widespread. But small businesses are struggling to survive amidst the third wave.
Before all this, we received a lot of tourists. Nowadays, with this pandemic, well, it has left us low. Businesses are dropping. There are no clients, and we have to row against the tide.
Mexico City authorities are speeding up vaccinations for people working within the tourism sector. Later this year, important social events are planned to go ahead to boost tourism, including Formula One, Independence celebrations in September, and Day of the Dead parades. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
France has champagne, Ireland has whiskey. And now South Africa has been awarded a unique regional status for its Rooibos tea. That means it's not Rooibos if it isn't grown in South Africa. NTD's Andrew Thomas reports.
Rooibos tea, whose name means red bush in Afrikaans, is indigenous to a small drought-stricken area of South Africa. After more than 10 years of negotiations, Rooibos recently became the first African food product to receive geographical protection under the European Commission's Register of Protected Designations of Origin. Dion Zandberg grew up on a Rooibos farm and now manages a nearly 15,000-acre one. He hopes the move will boost demand, provide stability, and improve the profitability of Rooibos.
Just like champagne is unique to France, so too is Rooibos in this area where it traditionally grows, making it unique to South Africa, especially this area in the Western Cape.
The broom-like plant is commonly drunk as a tea and infused in drinks. and use in beauty products has grown in popularity due to its alleged health benefits.
What makes Rooibos unique is that it is present in an area that is very small and remote. The fact that it grows here naturally makes it unique. The other thing is that it is a very healthy product. It is caffeine-free and has many health benefits.
Welcome to Kube is a Rooibos enthusiast who lives in Johannesburg. She points to the popularity of the herbal tea with senior citizens as proof of its positive effects.
A lot of people maybe would drink Rooibos, those old age people like our grannies, and so I think it's healthy.
The industry is made up of around 350 commercial Rooibos farmers, 100 emerging farmers, and just 170,000 cultivated acres. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
As the latest business updates for this week, you can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox. That's at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for this week. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching as always. We'll see you Monday.
We have a new channel. Subscribe to us on YouTube at NTD News. Get the highlights of our news broadcast and the most important headlines that we curate especially for you.
Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.